Okay. Well, for the sake of the video, this is our Masters of the Journey meeting in October of 2019. It's the 22nd. It's also what? Oh, it's September. Sorry, I'm getting ahead of it because it's the equinox in the middle of the night tonight. And if you're feeling like really equal and balanced, then it's probably a mistake. Anyhow, I met Raven accidentally. I was with Paula in Everett at a bookstore, and Paula went one way and I went the other way, and there was a woman setting up to do a workshop on crystals. And I said, that's exactly who I need to meet and who I need to know. And Raven and I met briefly, and I invited her to come up, which she did this past January, and did a tremendous presentation on rocks and minerals and crystals. And she said stuff that I had never heard before, and I loved it. So she said, oh, I'd love to come back and talk about dragons someday, but I'm not ready for that yet. So I said, oh, okay. So I went to meet Raven down in Everett. She has an office and she has a practice there. And she's some sort of, I don't know, shaman in her own way, and healer and intuitive. And she lays me out and she puts all the crystals on me. I have no idea, but it's weighting me down. And then she started doing kind of a Reiki energy thing on me. And she found places that I didn't know that she would know were a problem. And she found them and she worked on them, and they resolved. So I guess that what she did was spectacular. And then we had a meeting afterwards, and she said weird things to me, reminding me that I'm a healer and that I have guides and angels to protect me. And she introduced me to a figure character persona called Metatron, and I said, that sounds like a video game. But she assured me that it was more than that. And since I don't know anything about that, I'm not going to talk about it, other than I've got Metatron on. Oh, I got my back. Raven ManyVoices is spectacular. We've done some video together, little interview stuff and some stuff. I really love the fact that she was able to come back up and talk about one of her passions, which is about dragons. So I want you to welcome Raven. Thank you. Here's a microphone, and it only goes this far, so go wherever you need to go with it.
I'm on a leash. I love it. There we go. Perfect. Thank you so much, everybody, for having me here today. Before we dive in, so I have lots to share about the dragons, I want to call them forward. So to call them forward, I want you to go back in a day and age where we had the horns, where we had the drums, where we had the bells. And this wasn't to ring because of an attack, to burn down the village, or to signal the virgin that needed to be sacrificed to the volcano. They called the dragons for wisdom. They called the mentors of these earth, the beings that were here when the earth was formed. The dragons were the midwives. They birthed Mother Earth into physical form. That's how old they are. They're as old, if not older, than creation itself. And so when we were forming, when we were climbing out of the giant clamshell, if you know your Raven myths here in the Northwest, when we were trying to figure out how to be physical here, we called them for guidance because they taught us. They were our teachers. They helped connect us to the fairies, to the standing tall trees, to the animals, to the different ways. We needed them to come, but we've forgotten that. But in our heart, that drum that connects us to Mother Earth, those of you that have blood in you, that have ancestors, because dragons are in every culture. Chinese, Japanese, Druid, Celtic, Native American, everywhere. South American. There is someone in your family tree that remembers those drums. that remembers those horns, that remembers that the land itself, the ley lines were called dragon lines. We remember. And when you see that Celtic knotwork, when you see that dragon, when you see that, there's a part of you that blood burns and it hears that drum and it remembers. So to start today, I start with an honoring. I'm going to call those dragons again in the most primal of ways with a shell horn. Belovedly bought on Maui. So here I'm going to call them here 4 times. Whew. Now they know to come because they've been called. So thank you. We called the 4 directions, the 4 elements: fire, water, earth, and air. The 4 elements that came together to create everything, including you. The fire in your soul, the air in your lungs, the earth in your bones, and the water in your tears and blood. They are everything. So why? Who are the dragons? Why do we have them everywhere? It's really interesting. I get asked a lot, and I thank you for allowing me to come and talk about them today, because I have been writing and collecting dragon mythology, dragon stories, dragon wisdom for a very long time, and I'm so close to getting it together to publish it. I'm so excited. But as I write it and it's all these many years I've been talking about them, to organize it into thoughts is such a blessing. So thank you. You're helping with that process today. I get asked a lot with dragons, are they just our ancestors' fears when they saw dinosaur bones, when they saw large creatures? Because dragons can take so many different forms, the claws, the fangs, in different shapes and styles. And the interesting thing is, if you're a geology nerd and you're into stones, the dinosaur bones are actually quite rare, particularly full dinosaurs. When we think of T-Rexes and Brontosauruses and fun things like that, you only find it in very specific places on the planet where they were preserved. Now, here's the catch. Every single culture has dragon mythology in it, has stories of dragons, even pre-missionaries that came in. So these were not tales that were brought in with explorers and planted into these cultures. That means that the tribe in New Guinea that was not touched by people, to the tribal peoples here in the Northwest, to South America, even the Inuits up north have dragon tails. And there's not a lot of dinosaurs walking around up there in the polar ice caps. Why is that? Again, these beings have been here forever. So, see, they're already calling in. I love it. Woo! Exactly. Yeah, there you go. Woo! So these beings have been here forever. So let's talk about some of these different dragons. Because when we think of dragons, what do we think of? And we already heard a couple. Puff the Magic Dragon. Yes. What's some other popular dragons we think of in our culture that we grew up maybe?
Stop dragging my heart around.
Oh, I got a good song there. What else?
The dragon with the pearl?
Yes, the more Chinese Japanese that has the pearl in its mouth. Or we think of the feathered serpent, Quetzalcoatl, down in South America, the rainbow-colored feathered serpent. What else?
Were there dragons in the Greek or Roman pantheon?
Yes, we've got the Hydra that Hercules had to fight. Every head he cut off actually produced more dragons. And when you get into that Persian and oh man, you get the Babylonian, you get Tiamat. Tiamat was the mother of all dragons. And when Murdoch slayed her, her blood became the water, the oceans, and her earth, the flesh became the earth that we walk on. She's considered the mother of dragons, one of the oldest cultures. So they're everywhere, but there's ones we don't talk about. I mean, there's, yes, in Europe you have the more pot style, kind of traditional dragon with the 4 legs and the wings. We think of Puff the Magic Dragon, a very pot-bellied kind of dragon. But what about the nocturnes? Those are ones that are not talked about. They're gnarly, dark dragons that live in the bottoms of wells that are afraid of the light because it hurts their skin, but they're there. Yes, Loch Lomond will have a Loch Ness monster, Nessie, yes, or Lake Champion. We've got dragon up there that's swimming around. We've got them here too. Here in the Northwest, we have this amazing dragon. When you look at our native tribes here with their canoes, their giant canoes, you ever notice they have serpents sometimes on the canoe on either side? That double-headed serpent is called a susoodle. The susoodle is the native dragon here that swims in these waters and would fight orca and the thunderbirds. So it would go out and hunt. It was giant double-headed dragon that would actually hunt the orcas and hunt the thunderbirds that would come in. They would fight each other, and there's tails here. Then Lake Michigan, there's a whale dragon, big as a whale with wings, and they talk about there in the native peoples that 2 medicine men, 2 shamans got in a fight. They kept transforming into different ones, and they got mixed up in what animal they were going to be and got stuck. One became a giant whale dragon and got stuck in the form. Another tale I love is that dragon, these 2 were fighting, and he became a dragonfly and got stuck in that form. So there we have the dragons stuck in that image. The dragons are connected to the Wakian, the thunderbirds, and that transformation. So we have tales of them in the rock, which is the Persian equivalent to a thunderbird, and that the dragons would fly with them. So every culture, from hydras to amphirs to down in the Philippines, they have the toinga, which are boiling water spouting dragons that lay on beaches. People mistakenly think they're just lumps of sand, and then they get frightened because a dragon comes alive and spouts boiling water everywhere. So sometimes these were natural occurrences. One of my favorites is here over in the Olympic Mountains, the Solduck Hot Springs. Has anybody gone to the Solduck Hot Springs? Do you know what the tale of that is? 2 dragons were in love with the chief's daughter, and they got into a huge fight. And as they fought, they ripped each other's flesh off, and they threw it up into the trees. So that's the lichen that you see, the kind of gray lichen you see hanging in bits of it here and there. That's their flesh all over the forest in the Hoh rainforest. And they were so upset and so injured, they crawled into their caves, and their tears became the hot springs at Solduck Hot Springs. So the native legend there is that's why that water is healing and restorative, because it is literally the tears of the dragons. Yeah, so it's so entwined in our culture. It's everywhere. And we have different attitudes here. The Celts, they loved the dragons. Again, it wasn't the ley lines, they called it the dragon lines. And there was an order. Talashin, also known as Merlin, as some of you may know, had the vision of the white and red dragon that came, that ushered in the time of shift of religion and culture. That was when the pagan ways or the old ways was being surmised by the Christianity that was coming in. And he knew that was coming in, a blending was coming. But Talashin or Merlin, that line of bards, were known by 2 blue dragons on their arms. And they were the keepers of the dragons. Their mythology, their magic, they were the keeper of the sacred groves. They learned that from the dragons. They got that from those dragon people. And the dragons, like any magical, amazing being, oftentimes dragons, like a lot of our different stories, old legends talk of these beings, that they took pity on us because we were pretty pathetic when we were here. We're stumbling around and we're naked and we're cold, and the animals are like, they're going to freeze. We better give our fur to them or they're going to freeze. We're sick, and the plants are like, we better give them medicine or they're going to die. So each part of nature gave themselves. The stones said, hey, stack us and we make a great house you can live in. The trees go, hey, burn us and you can get warm. So all these different beings came forward to help us, right? And the dragons helped to guide us. They would give us dreams. They'd give us visions. They would come and teach us. Well, a lot of them, of the different beings, to be able to talk to us, because we're not always really good when a bear comes at us. Oh, a bear. So they would shapeshift into, they had the ability to become human, to be able to talk to us, to pass us messages. And like any good connection, sometimes a romance happened, right? So sometimes those connections became romances, and that means that blood flows. So that means some of you in this room may carry dragon blood, that your great-great ancestor may have that blood in there. And a lot of cultures believe that. In China, the emperor was a direct descendant of the dragon.
Is that where Year of the Dragon came from?
Yeah. When the king or the emperor of heaven had a great race, and he was trying to determine by the sons how to put it in order, the years. And so he had a great race of all the different beings. And so there was a great race of the tiger, the rooster, the rat, the dragon, the horse, the monkey, and they all decided to race. And so they're all racing. And each one was racing to try to get first, because that would determine the order of the calendar. The dragon actually is not first. He was wise, he took his time, he overlooked all of creation and glided in gracefully. It was the rat. Rat was the cleverest. It rode on the backs of everybody else. Even the dragon, it hitched a ride. And then said, hey, look over there, look at that. Jumped off. Yay, I'm one. So the rat was first. Now, for all of us, for this year, we have been in the year of the pig, who was last. Because the pig was like, ooh, truffles. Yeah. Took time, enjoyed life, smelled the flowers. Oh yeah, was I supposed to be doing something? And got across the line last. So that's why this year you're feeling like you're finishing up. Because it is the year of endings. But next year is the year of beginnings. So we have the rat next year. So it's a time to be clever. It's time to get in there and try lots of new things. But who is here is in the year of the dragon? Aha! So you hold royalty, you hold wisdom, you hold that connection to the dragons. So we name our years after it. The emperor on the Chinese dragons, this is a little interesting here, they were always denoted by 6 claws on the dragons. So the Chinese emperor had 6-clawed dragon, and he'd have a beautiful robe embroidered with that. Stations or levels of people in the government would be noted by how many claws of the dragon. So a 5-claw would be an official. A 4-claw might be a merchant. And the lowly 3 claws, they got kicked out of China. I kid you not, they went to Japan. If you look at Japanese dragons, they've got 3 claws. So legend is they got kicked out, they wept, and so they went to Japan. Very interesting, the Tatsuya dragons are known, the weeping dragons or the water dragons. And they come in times of grief. They come to cry with you, and they teach you how valuable your tears are. So in Chinese dragons, they hold that pearl of wisdom, but the Japanese dragons, they had the tears of wisdom. Beautiful there. So again, interwoven everywhere. So why are the dragons coming back so strongly? It's kind of interesting, as I heard different people work with different beings here in the room, and I can see that, being a seer. I love my job. I look over my edge of my glasses, my reality filters here, and I can see all your different guides waving, saying hello. When you work with Star Nation, ET, phone home up there, when you work with angelics, angels, yes, I see a bunch of those here, and ascended masters, Metatron, angelic, celestial being, those are all beings above us. And the reason why, and I'm not saying easier, everybody connects a little bit differently, but we are spiritual beings in a physical body. We are spiritual beings. So everything from basically your diaphragm up is reflection of the heaven. So your heart, kind of the heart, I'll get to the heart in a second, but heart, throat, third eye, crown chakra. Connect up to the heavens, right? So when you're working with the angels and everything, that's why you can connect with them, because we're spiritual beings and we're pretty much upstairs all the time. We're thinking about things, we're trying to use our heart with things, right? So that is those realms up there. Now, from that diaphragm down, then we connect into the animals, the ancestors, those fairy beings, the earth. When you talked about being out hiking and having that peaceful feeling, that's getting down in your body and feeling the earth energies, those earth beings. They're down below us, right? So that's why to connect and communicate with your dog, you have to actually connect into your emotions, and you emotionally feel that cat, that dog, that animal, right? Yeah. So that's below us. Now, this is really unusual about the dragons. They hit us right in the middle. They are our center chakra. And this is why sometimes people fear dragons. To work with them is to work directly with your power. This is why in Tai Chi, so respect that. That is all about the movement of energy, Qi. And that is why the dragon is so represented so much in Qigong and Qi and Falun Da and all the different ones. Because again, it's that movement of the dragon, the movement of the power. And that is from those billows. That's from that center chakra. It is the balance of heaven and earth. The yin and yang is literally the balance. But with that is also our power, how we connect, how we manifest right there at that level. So to work with the dragons is to work with your power, and it's all about respect. And that can be intimidating. It's no wonder you have dragons, which are powerful, amazing beings, and you had a religion that was dancing into Europe. You had these people of the dragon that stood in their power. One of the most frightening of figures for the Roman army was Queen Boudica. She was the queen of the Celts. And when they came in there into Scotonia and the barbarian lands, she was dressed in blue woad, and whoa, did it stink, because it was made with urine, usually your own. Whoa! So she's dressed in blue and half her boobs hanging out, and they're pounding the drums and playing the bagpipes all night long, and the Romans went, oh, heck no. We're not going over that water and over to that land. No, they can have it. We're going back home. They held banners of the dragons, the warrior people, the dragons. So how do you get that culture to change? When I finally got in there and started getting the people, how do you change a culture that used something that's so powerful? By making it the devil, by making it the bad guy, by making it evil. When you started to put the fear, the doubt in there, then, oh, I can't associate to the dragon, that's bad. Now, dragons have known that. As mentors, as teachers, one of the job of a mentor and a teacher is being a mirror. You too know that. You've been a mirror for Mr. Coyote over here. You have to be a mirror. So the dragons knew that they reflect us. And so when we went into greed, when we went into those places, they had to reflect that. I like to think of the dragons as James Dean. They're that sexy rebel that had to take the hard job. Okay, I'll hold up the mirror. I'll be the bad guy. I'll be your demon. I'll be your cancer. I'll be your monster. If that means that you can look into your own heart and figure out who you are. Dragons are not vicious. They actually don't have claws and fangs and all that. That is our reflection of that power, our fear of that power. Their fire that we associate dragons is the fire of the central sun. It's the fire of creation itself. It's the fire of love. When you stand in the flame of a dragon, which you're going to do today, and lead you to meet your dragon, you're going to have an opportunity to stand in that fire. And you're going to humble yourself. You're going to bow to this being. And that is the scariest thing, is you're going to see those horns. You're going to see those fangs and claws. But when you realize that this is a being of love, that when you bow and respect this being that's been here longer than you, when you look up, you feel it. You feel it in that heart. As we think of our center, our diaphragm is the center, but it's always our heart. That is the center of our being. 3 chakras up and 3 chakras down. It's the center. When we run all of our energy, when we run our thoughts through our heart, when we run our grounding through our heart, we run everything through our heart, we are centered. It's when we think outside of ourselves, or try to feel outside of ourselves, try to be someone else, that's when we get unbalanced. Heart is the center. So although we want to connect power to power with things, when we connect heart to heart, that's when all the horns and fangs disappear. That's when we see the fire. Now, I know some people have associated dragons to angels. They say that they're one the same. No. Different dragons, different beings. But you have celestial beings and celestial dragons. So, of course, it looks like they're all one family. Two separate beings. Two very separate beings. But they work together. Why not? Archangel Michael and the dragon can get along. If you look back into our history, though, Saint Michael and the dragon are always at war. No. Again, they shifted it. They can't have a saint and a dragon getting along. Well, there you go. How are we supposed to take over the people if they're getting along with their power? Make them fight each other. That's why dragons are always on the heads of the billboards in Ireland and Scotland and Wales. They cut the head off of the beast. Now I'll let you and all the women folk in here guess what we were called. We were called the dragons who bleed and do not die. Because we had the power of creation. We had the power to bring life. Sorry, men folk. No bleeding. If you bled like us, there might be a problem. You might want to go see your doctor. But we were scary, because we could bleed once a month. We could bring life forward. So they called us dragons. So when they shifted that, what did they show us as? The witches that rode on the back of the devil that looked like a dragon. Yeah, they were afraid. That power. So as femininity is rising, and not just the feminine force, I'm talking femininity in each of us. Each of us have yin and yang, male and female within us. As that nurturing energy and creation energy rises in all of us, we're all riding the dragon again. We're all tapping back into that power. Because to change what we are is inflaming us. Think about our lovely orange pumpkin, 3-year-old running in the country right now. I love him. He's being such a poster child of things we'd like to change. But that ire, that fire is rising in you, right? So as you start to claim that creation energy, you want to create a new world, a new dream. Aborigines, I sat with them out in Uluru, and they talked about that. The serpent, the great serpent that came. Uluru was the egg. The male and female serpent came, got it on, and out came life, hatched out. Everywhere you go, the great serpent. Amazon worked with the Asha Inca people down there. They talk about that the great Amazon was a giant serpent that wraps around, that helps Mother Earth's lungs. She's got asthma right now with us burning down all the forest, but that serpent's still there, guarding, protecting. Our serpentine in our mountains are dragons that fallen asleep and slumbered and became stone. And when we harvest from them, when we hold these, we're holding onto the scales of dragons. Serpentine. So that power, that energy, that mentor, that teacher never left us. The drums are still playing. My challenge to you is, are you ready to hear? Are you ready to listen? Are you ready to grab that fire? Not just that inviting that dragon to come with you, but the dragon that lives in your heart. Are you ready to stand in the fire? Are you ready to roar back? I want change. I want things to change. I want things to manifest different. I want our schools to be different. I want respect. I want respect for me. So to work with the dragon is to stand in respect.
I'm ready.
Yay!
You said something about the fire. Could you explain how the fire doesn't really burn us or kill us, but it actually pulls away what we don't need?
Yeah, it's fire, it's love.
It's love, and what does it burn away?
It burns away all those things that no longer serve you. Yeah.
Good.
Because when you truly stand in respect and love, what happens? You stop doing all those things that are disrespectful to yourself. Trust me. Worked retail, 80 hours, don't need a lunch break, eating, don't need to do that. You heard your heart. Your heart said, I don't want to be moldy anymore. Yes. No more mushrooms in your bloodstream. Time to go down to the fire and burn it out. Exactly. So when we listen to that fire of our heart, we make changes. And this is all about changes now. Eee! So exciting. That light's coming out. And again, that fire is light. Light is love. It's all that same equation. No more hiding.
That explains it.
Yeah. Okay, I know. I'm getting all fiery hot. I'm getting red. How am I doing? You got any questions?
Yes. If your earth sign is fire, is that dragon blood
Fire has many different forms. And remember, I don't want to exclude Phoenix, exclude any of the other fire beings that might want to come and dance. They're definitely one of the many aspects. And again, you can work with a water dragon, you can work with an earth dragon, you can work with an air dragon, you can work with a death dragon. They're all into the whole skeletal thing for Halloween. You've been seeing them everywhere. Skeleton frogs, skeleton scorpions, skeleton dragons. Get that too at Home Depot. Woo! I got that. The cool thing is that because dragons are that center and balance, they're doorways. They're doorkeepers. And so what they do is they guard the doorways to other realms, to energy. So for those of you that work those different other realms, a guardian of the gate is very important. You need to have that protector, that Metatron that keeps you on the rails, make sure you don't wander too far.
Really?
Yeah. You got a leash too. All of us do. We have guardians. Even if you're not aware of it, all of you have guardians. You have beings that are around you, ancestors that love you, angels that watch over you. You have fairies that poke you and steal your keys. Sorry, they do. And all of you have dragons around you too. This energy is always around you. They morph, they change, they make themselves available when you're ready, but they're always there helping you. Dragons are there, again, that bounce a doorway. So when you work with dragons, and even if you don't, again, they're the huge doorways on this planet. So have you guys noticed how much dragons are in our culture now? They're everywhere. In the cartoons. Hello, Game of Thrones? Do I even have to say it? These beings come into our media, in our conscious, in the best way. In our videos, in our movies, in our songs, all those different things, because when it comes into our conscious awareness, it opens a door. It lets them dance in to work with us. Dragons are those doorways. And what's happening on our planet? We're shifting, we're changing. The light is dancing in. That's why there's so much chaos right now. All those old energies, old ways, old beings are like, no, hell no, we won't go. The light's coming in, the dragons are opening the doorways. And so we are seeing an influx in media, in cartoons, in children's wear, everywhere. I mean, I literally just went across the street and found Lucky Dragon mugs across the street. Sorry, bought all 3. They'll get more in. So you can see them everywhere. So it's available to us. And like so many different beings, think about it now, we're here talking about dragons, and I'm so disappointed that 911 didn't walk through the door, because they could have brought the straitjacket for me and drugged me away. Burned me at the stake. Woo! She's a witch. She's talking about dragons. She's going to start riding it. Oh, no! That might be fun. I digress. So we can talk about angels. We can talk about Star Nation. We can talk about all these things because we're accepted. We're gathering in a group, publicly saying, hey, we're here doing this. That's the coolest. Our community is waking up. And let me give you a big secret. I'm so excited. 2012 was a huge one, right? Everyone's heard about that. And we have been dealing with it since 2012. Look how many of you moved. 2012, right before it, right after it, 4 years before and right 4 years after 2012, there's a gateway, a doorway, a big one that opened up on the planet. Mother Earth shifted. The awakening is not just about humanity. Get over yourselves. It's about everything on the planet waking up, because we have made this humongous shift. I mean, scientists are looking at crystals and going, they've rearranged themselves. Have you noticed your clock isn't keeping time anymore? It's because the crystals in it are actually shifted. It's so amazing. I talked about this with the crystals. That's the awakening process, because the dragons opened the doors. Yay! So, hello, newsflash, we're at the 4 years after 2012. This is the final year. Mother Earth has shifted from a planet of survival to a planet of love. Yes! And with that comes illumination and truth. Remember those dragons, what they show, that mirror? Oh, heck yeah. Why do you think you've been cleaning up so much? Why do you think you've had so many moves and shifts and changes and relationships and job shifts and everything? I know it's chaos, but we've been asked to clean up. We've been asked to clear our plate, to open up, because, take a deep breath, we're going back into magic. I'm so excited! Yes! Yes! Let me tell you, Merlin, All the magic people around they have been in spirit as ascended masters, holding their breath, going, come on, come on, come on. For this moment right now, 2020, oh my God, I'm so excited because the door is open and magic's coming back on the planet. I'm like, do I have my pointy ears yet? Do I? So close. It's coming anytime. So magic's here. I mean, think about, again, us talking about this. The reason why the consciousness is raising on the planet, that people are making these connections. I am so excited you're talking about elders. Native people have been doing this forever, people. Hello? So again, bringing the elders back in. Yes, the wisdom keepers. People have been keeping magic and the traditions alive. And you all are too. Again, your ancestors are in your blood and they've kept the traditions alive. All you have to do is listen. And that process of listening is magic. It's magic. Magic is awareness, is belief, and it's manifesting. And the dragons, they are so excited to work with you because they're all about magic. So magic, it's here.
Is magic a kind of alchemy between your belief and materiality, kind of coming together, co-creating something out of something, and you're like, oh my God?
It's putting you back into the equation of life. We need to stop looking at life outside of ourselves. We need to stop thinking of divine as outside of ourselves. You are divine. You are magic. You are part of the equation. So we're going to see this dancing back in next year. And why not get amazing elders? And you can't talk about oldest elder here to get that help. They're here to help you. And in the years I've worked with them, it has always been the simplest. Go hold that stone. Go look at that fire. Go take a deep breath. Go be in nature. Remember who you are. Remember you are power. Remember you are love. Remember you can be vulnerable because you still have scales. Be fierce. Have your claws. But then melt into a pile of goo like Puff the Magic Dragon with sparkles. There are always so many different ways. When I went and got a tattoo, and I won't show you because that will involve mooning you, I have a huge dragon tattoo on my back. And yes, it goes all the way down as this fire goes up. And when I first went to go find an artist to do it, he took my artwork that I had poured my passion into and decided to throw it out and do a gnarly, snarling biker dragon. And I went, that's not dragon to me. That's not the power. That's not the energy. I want my money back. And he argued and tried to bully me and going, yeah, I did that, you owe me, blah, blah, blah. And I said, no, you did not honor what we agreed on. And I sat there and he finally threw the money at me. And the dragon said, good job. Now you earned your tattoo. So I had to stand in my power. I had to be respected. Then I sat and meditated on it and waited. And I went to a fair, and a tattoo artist was there doing consults for magical tattoos. She looked at my artwork and went, I will help you. I know what you're doing. You want a tattoo. You want a power tattooed into your skin. I went, I found the right person. Gypsy Jill was her name. She's passed on. A year before she passed that dragon to me. 12 hours I sat there with all the colors that she wove into it so that my dragons that I saw in my heart can be on me. And I warn you, tattoos are so addictive. I want more. It's a relationship you build. So you guys ready?
Yeah.
How are we doing?
Is it break or?
You want to take a break or you want to? Let's do a meditation, then we'll take a break. Let me take you on a little journey. Yeah. All right, so deep breath. Let's do a little journey here, and then we'll talk a little bit more of what I brought here on the table. So everybody take a deep breath. And first, to work with the dragons, because I've been taking your mind all over the place, is that we need to get back to Mother Earth. So I want you to put your feet flat on the floor, put down your notebooks and things. And I want you to reach down with your heart to Mother Earth. I want you to pull Mother Earth up. I want you to think of spring green like fresh grass, like daffodils. And bring that green vibration up your feet. And as it goes up your feet, I want you to think it like vines, climbing up your feet all the way up to that base of that spine. And have it pull all the way up to your heart. And as it hits your heart, I want you to think like your heart's like a disco ball. Send that green vibration out into all directions, bathing every cell with that green color, every space, even in between the cells, until your whole being is that green vibration. And in that vibration of renewal, of life, visualize Mother Earth, however you see her, a turtle, a woman, a color, a mountain, a tree, and reaching out to give you a hug. Wrap your arms around Mother Earth and receive that hug, that love. Feel how much she loves you, a son, a daughter of her planet. That she's so honored that you are here on her body right now. You are a conduit, a cord, a connection. You bring the heavens down into her heart. You are her child, and she loves you so much. And as she holds you, feel yourself opening up to the beautiful path before you, a path through the forest. And as you walk through this forest, you can smell the richness of the earth. You can see the twinkling of the light come down through the leaves. You feel the rustling of the bushes as animals and beings look on as you walk by. And we're walking forward to a big clearing before us. And as we walk up to this big pedestal, around us are 4 distinct lands. Fire with volcano, lava, the fire of the earth is in one direction. In another direction, the sea, the water, a waterfall, a pool, a pond, the water flowing, soothing. Another one, a mountain top, whistling wind blowing through, stones carved by that wind. And another, earth, an inviting cave with crystals, with moss, or maybe a mossy covered tree and stone that invite you forward. Let your heart wander these 4 environments, these 4 directions: fire, water, air, earth. What one are you drawn to? Allow yourself to move forward into that fire, that warmth embrace, the water, soothing, healing, air, uplifting, or earth, grounding. And as you walk out into this environment, in a clear voice, call for the guardian, the being, that dragon of this element. Please reveal to me the dragon that is here to guide me. Please reveal to me the dragon that's here to guide me. Please reveal to me the dragon that's here to guide me. Allow this dragon to come forward. It may be as small as a kitten or as big as a mountain. No matter what size, let it come forward. Notice how it's cautious. It takes a moment to look at you, to see what your intentions are. Do you have a sword, or are you here with an open heart? So as this dragon approaches, your first duty is to bow. Remember, this is a guardian of this element. So pay your respects. Bow your head. Thank you, dragon, for coming here to talk to all these beautiful people, to talk to you. As the dragon comes closer, look at the details. Does it have horns or antlers? Does it have scales or feathers or fur or skin? What color is this dragon? Does it have whiskers, wings, legs? Or is it just a worm, a serpent? You can ask for a name, but you may not receive it, and this is okay. Dragons are very private. Their name is power and magic itself, and they'll never reveal their true magical name until they truly trust you. So they may give you a short name, like bubble or smoke or cinder, a working name, something that you can use. Ask why this dragon's come forward for you. Why is it here to help you today? To stand in your power, to help you to manifest, to purify you, to bring healing or ancient wisdom. Trust whatever you feel. It might show you something. It might give you something, a stone, a feather, or remind you of your heritage. Maybe if you look down, you see those blue tattoos on your own arms, or the royal silks of an emperor that you once were. And finally, this dragon that's come forward of this element. We need some help today, as each of us has been purifying, releasing, and clearing. And this is what the dragons do well and best for us. We need their fire of creation. We need their help to cut away those things that no longer serve us, of people, places, and events. So ask that dragon to bring forward the fire, to bring fire forward, that color. As that fire blows over you, watch what color it is. Is it every color, or is it a particular color of the rainbow? And as you stand into that fire, walk forward in it and let it lick over you. Feel how soft and inviting it is. Feel as you are purified and cleansed. Feel it go into that diaphragm, into that heart, empowering you. Like superpowering all that you need. Kicking out anything you need out of your body. Melting away the pain, the block. And as you stand in that fire, as you feel that warmth around you, I want you to focus on something that you want to manifest in your life. Maybe that is health. Maybe that's manifesting a job or a new location or a safe move or safety or protection. Whatever it is you want to manifest, I want you to focus on that right now. And see this dragon flame infusing into this desire, into this prayer, into this thing you're focusing into. And see it form into an egg. And see the dragon as the dragon hands you that egg and asks you to put it in your heart of what you want to manifest. Feel that warmth, fire wrapping around you like a blanket to keep this egg, this desire warm and safe. And finally, watch as this dragon curls itself around you, keeping you warm and safe, so that you hatch the egg, the treasure that it guards and protects. As you thank this dragon, bow again. This great being has poured its love into you. And return that love by hugging it, loving it, shaking its claw, blowing a kiss back to this beautiful dragon. And as you walk down that path, see how this dragon watches you over you, flying, walking, skipping along with you as you come back into yourself, bringing that fire, bringing that power into you, integrating it into your physical body, feel the warmth, into your emotions, calm but powerful, into your heart, focused and alive and passionate, and into your mind, crystal clear and focused. Coming all the way back into you, wiggling your fingers, your toes, coming back into this room. And as you come back here, taking a deep breath, feeling that fire and everything becomes solid within you, take a moment to softly open your eyes and look around the room. You'll see how the colors are more intense. You'll see the dragon around each of us as it has given a gift to all of us. Oh, thank you. Ooh. I think we're going to take a quick break and then I'll come back and finish.
Yes, that would be great.
Sounds good.
Let's take 10 minutes. We have